Okay, so we're live. Welcome back to the Magic Minds podcast. I'm Matt Burke. So, thanks very much for all the feedback with regards to the interview with Michael Collins. It was absolutely fantastic to sit down with Michael. Brilliant. It's so kind of timely. That's the kind of area that I'm starting to move into. More meditation, more mindfulness, more spirituality, more awakening. I just love all that. I love the kindness and compassion meditation and that kind of whole area. So it's brilliant to be able to sit down with him and talk, the art of real conversation. He's a really, really good guy and he has an amazing story. And I'm glad that people have resonated with it and really enjoyed the interview. I loved it. I love the conversation. I love all conversations like that. Okay, so today's interview is with myself, two of my pals from the from the National Rehabilitation Hospital. Rose Curtis and Maeve Nolan have been on the podcast before, but they've been asking me to do an interview. They said they wanted to thank me for the work that I do in the hospital. But I always say, and even in my private life, I'm only the average of the 5 people I spend the most time with, and I really mean that. And that's not kind of playing it down or anything like that. I would be nothing without this organisation. I'm here and I make a contribution, but they also make a contribution to me. Rose, Maeve, they make a contribution to me, so it's a good fit and it's a great place to work. So it was really interesting to sit down with the guys and have the chats. I will have to apologise for the camera work. The camera goes at 35 minutes. It's gone on other interviews before, and I'm really, really sorry. I'm absolutely making a balls of it somehow. Either the memory stick goes in it, or the battery, and I don't have an extension lead. Some fucking thing keeps going. It's driving me bananas. But I promise we'll get it sorted. I was saying to the lads today that we might stop doing it, but I don't want to give up. That's just a form of giving up by not doing it and getting frustrated. So I'll just have to see it through. I'll have to be more professional. There's a lot of work, in fairness, to setting up an interview, because I do it on the fly. As you can see, I'm in the national rehab today. I'm on my lunch break again. So I kind of have to do the interviews wherever I can, whenever I can. And it takes a lot of preparation, and sometimes I don't string it all together, trying to think of the interviews, trying to think of the technological fucking shit, and then asking the questions and be prepared, and the lighting, and there's a lot of work in it. And as I say, I do it on my own, and the other lads do the background work at home. Aaron and Kev, they do amazing work. So it's about just trying to pull it all together and getting it right, and it's just not happening at the moment. But I promise we'll get the video done. I do enjoy it. I just don't enjoy when it just goes belly up. But we'll get there in the end. If anyone wants to sponsor us a camera, I'd really appreciate that, because at the moment we just have Kev's GoPro, and that's doing the job. But I obviously keep making the balls up of it. So yeah, that's that bit out of the way. As regard to the interview today, myself and the girls sat down and had the chats, and I really felt comfortable sitting down with them having the talk, because I've known them a long time and they've been really good to me over the years, professionally and personally. So the stuff we covered is why I do what I do, what I do here, my journey to it, my meditation, my yoga that I'm getting started, my boot camps, the influence I've had on the hospital, my top tips for staying well within your mind, my thoughts around things. There's loads of that stuff. I kind of got into a bit of stuff around my mental health and my past, my childhood trauma. I didn't get into it too much. We bounce back and forth and things. There is another discussion within that. I don't mind explaining that to people, but I just, as I said to the girls, I have to be careful around the family stuff. People don't get hurt, and as I say, I've done a lot of my own work, but it will be another conversation I'll have. And I don't mind talking about it. It's important as a male and as a role model and a leader within my organisation that I'm advocating for mental health and advocating for looking after yourself and demonstrating how I do it. And that's how, if you want to be a leader, you got to lead from the front, and I believe that I am a leader. So yeah, look, have a listen to the interview and let us know what you think. As always, I'd like to thank Noel Riley from Rooney Graphics. I'm delighted with their help and their support. They're great guys. I would also like to make a shout out to the Liberties. People know I'm from the Liberties, and I sing from the roof that I love it. And I would like to give a shout out to Lisa and Sandra at the Shannon Hope charity. They're doing amazing work, for mental health and suicide prevention within the Liberties. And then also another new initiative within the area is meditation with Louise. I've been to the meditation. I've said it in the last podcast. Please check her out. She's on Instagram. She's on Facebook. I don't know if she's on Twitter, but she does a class on Thursday nights in the Catherine's Sports Centre in Marble Lane. And the Liberties in general, if you've not been there before, please make it a business to go. There's lots of tours going on. I think Liz Gillis, and she's on Facebook. She's been on the podcast before. Check her out on Facebook. She does some stuff now. She's doing tours. I think she's always done tours, but check her out. Come visit Liberty Market. There's a new hairdressers at the end of Mead Street called Janie. She used to be in David Marshall. Is it David from Francis Street, but they were there for 18 years. But Jane Hogan, she's opened her hairdressers at the end of Mead Street. There's lots of things there. There's lots of nail bars, there's butchers, there's pubs, there's the crack. Come along, visit the place. You'll really enjoy it. And you can go to the Liberty Market and you can buy Scaldi runners for 20 quid. Dodgy Air Max, they'll probably fall off in 2 weeks. But at least you look Gucci for 2 weeks anyway. So there you go. I can take a breath now. Have a listen to the interview. Let us know what you think. We're on all the podcast servers. We're on YouTube. So subscribe, press the like button. Sound like a fucking YouTuber again. And leave reviews. Get in contact with us on social media. I'll keep posting the little videos. Hopefully that will keep the Magic Minds podcasts in the front of your mind. Have a great day and mind your little selves. As always, be kind to you and you will be kind to the rest of the world. Have a fantastic day. Bye. Right, go for it. We're all systems go.
Okay, so we're live. Welcome back to the Magic Minds podcast. I am definitely not Matt Burke, but he is here with us. He's here with Maeve Nolan and myself, Rose Curtis, shivering in his shoes.
Fuck.
And boy, is he shivering.
Oh, that is an absolute understatement.
So how does it feel, Matt?
Jesus Christ, this is torture. Is this what it was like for you when I done the interview?
Yep.
I think I was probably nicer to you than you are being to me. Maeve, you're beautiful. But you're like being the Punisher. It's like good cop, bad cop here. I don't know who to trust.
Well, really, Matt, we wanted you to come on the podcast because us and several other people wanted to say a huge thank you to you because you have brought so much to us in NRH since you came over 6 years ago now, 52 podcasts later. But we need to say a massive thank you to you. But there's so many of us want to know a lot more about what's under the bonnet.
Oh, jeez.
So.
Feck all. It's all jazz hands. But no, I really appreciate you saying that. As you know, how much I love the organisation, how much I love the role. I love the people. Well, most of them. No, that's a joke. We've got an amazing organisation. It's just easy to work here. Do you know what I mean? You're able to flourish, whether it be through the jobs you do, through the education it provides us, through the training. It's been an invaluable part of my life over the last number of years.
But before we get into that, I'd just like to echo what Rose has said. We got together a few months back now and said, how will we thank Matt for all that he does? And we thought you weren't really a bunch of flowers guy, and the box of chocolates wouldn't do with the diet and all the rest of it. So we thought, what do we do? So rather perversely, we decided we would turn the tables on you and put you in the hot seat and make a podcast with you as the guest. So we want to know what's the story, man.
I think I'd sooner the flowers and the chocolates. And like a bag of Haribo would have done the job. Do you know what I mean? I'm easily pleased. Little pleased to simple, as they say.
Well, generally, I think people who are very good at paying attention to other people's stories, they generally have a story to tell themselves. And I think one of the really nice things about your podcast, and people have mentioned this over the time, is you've such a chatty, informal style. So we're hoping we can recreate that here this evening and get a little bit, behind the scenes of what brings you here and what motivates you to work as you do.
Thanks, I really appreciate it. I feel really comfortable to sit down with you guys. You have been colleagues, and then I would regard you as friends within it. You've both been hugely influential in my career and me as a person. So yeah, it's deadly to sit down and have the chats. I say that now, but we'll see how when it starts getting difficult, I'll probably change my mind.
So take us back a bit, Matt. When you came here, you very quickly, obviously you gelled so well when you came to the RTU, and you've worked with so many trainees. But a lot of people would find that working in the RTU, they're a little bit detached from the rest of the hospital. Yet you found your way very quickly onto the positive working environment group, onto the suicide awareness group. You were doing boot camps. You were doing all kinds of training. How did you manage that, and what drew you to all of that here?
Honestly, it was probably bred out of not having a full-time contract. Uh, I was always on a permanent contract. I was always on a temp contract. It was rolling. So, in order to increase my chances of getting employment, I wanted to be active, but not active in just doing anything. The positive working group environment is really important to me. The boot camps, all the stuff that I moved towards, they were things that I was interested anyway. So it was beneficial to me. It was a win-win. And just I love meeting people. I love being involved in the hospital community. We are isolated down here. I always use the analogy of we're like the ugly cousins. Everyone knows we're here, but they don't know what we do. And I swear to God, I can't say enough about this program. Like, I really love it. I think it's one of the best things. I've not done too much work outside here in brain injury rehabilitation, but this program has it all, as in it's holistic, mind, body, and soul. We've counselling, we've the OTs, and it's just a really nourishing environment for people to grow with a brain injury. If people come here for cognitive rehabilitation, and they're probably their insight and awareness might not be there, but they might gain so much more from the program. You might try bang them into the medical model, but it might be just about the integration into the community. It might be about just increasing their awareness on their family life, loads and loads. And I wanted to promote that within the hospital. I wanted to get us recognised, and I think we are. I think due to the staff that we have here, we're doing that. I don't think it's just me. I work with a fantastic team. I probably always didn't do that as well, if I'm honest. When I came in 2013, I was terribly nervous. I didn't think I was professional. I didn't think I was good enough to be here. I wouldn't make phone calls in the office in front of anyone in case I sounded like a numpty. Like, you can't say this and you can't say that, because I used to see them as being professional. Their OTs, their psychologists, if they hear me, McNumpty, from the inner city, from the flats talking, they'll think, what the hell is he doing here? So I was shitting, do you know what I mean? Like, but now that has totally changed. I really lean in on my team. I advocate for us. I talk about it really highly, and I believe it. I feel part of the team. Now, that wasn't anything that they did or made me feel back then. They were all just my insecurities. They were my self-doubts.
Absolutely, because you were probably like a breath of fresh air. You always had that energy about you and enthusiasm, and you're thinking you know nothing, and they're thinking, God, he's great.
Yeah, like, people said nice things and all, but you know yourself, you don't believe if you don't feel it. Like, people say, oh, you're like, I remember Dina O'Driscoll asked me to come here, and she's a huge influence on my career. She believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, and I didn't, like, although I listen to her and I believe, yeah, like, well, yeah, she says, you're good at this, you'd be good at this. I'm thinking, oh, what does this woman know? She doesn't know me, and that self doubt was there, but yeah, it took a long time. It took a long time for that to go away. And that was through the integrations in the different committees within the hospital, working with you guys, the stuff you said to me personally, professionally, stuff that you said to me. All these things have a huge impact on me. Words are hugely important, and they mean a lot to me, like just the smallest of things, you know what I mean? That you really, as much as when you're a child and people say bad things to you, they can be ingrained in your brain. Now my whole mindset's changed. I really only take on the kind of things that benefit me now. Where before I would have always took on things like if somebody said something negative. Now I'm kind of like a bit like, is it Teflon? Is it? Things just roll,
Stick, yeah.
I've moved, like before I'd have, negative thoughts about people. I think I can't name people in one hand that I'd have a negative towards. I could tell you all the people that's done good in my life to me. And that's the kind of area I've moved towards. And that's thanks to the hospital, and that has enabled me to grow professionally and personally. That's a long-winded answer, isn't it? Loving Jesus.
But that's such a focus on the positive. It's amazing, particularly when you describe how nervous you were at the beginning. I wouldn't have recognised that or seen it, would you?
I think you're so honest that Matt would have been very open, would have said, I am very nervous, or
Well, you can spot it. Like you have an innate, even when you used to come up to you in the boot camp and say, "How are you today?" And I'd say, "Yeah, grand, grand," and you look at me in the eyes and go, "Are you though?" I can see in your eyes, and like, "Fuck, she knows what's going on." But again, I have to be very mindful of other people in the hospital. Yeah, I'm honest and open about my feelings, whether it be nervous, anxious, feeling down, whatever. But I don't say it to too many people because I have to be mindful of their day and how it impacts them because I'm a huge influence in here and around the hospital. So I have to be mindful of that as well. That's not hiding it away, but it's being fair, and I just think I tell some people and I wouldn't tell others. Just some people don't need to handle. I've said this to people here before and say, "How are you?" And I've said, "Not great." And their face would change, their whole mood would change, and it'd impact them. And I have to be mindful of that as well.
I'm sure we'll come back to your work here in the NRH because there's lots we want to ask you about boot camp and about the RTU. But bring us back a bit. Where were you before you came here?
1984. Let's
Oh
start
Jesus,
there.
that
I'm only
time,
joking.
that time in bank camp. How did I get here? I suppose I'd loads of different jobs. I served my time as a sheet metal worker. I was a butcher in Meath Street, a place I love. The Liberties is my heart. I love it there with all my heart.
Is that where you were born?
Yeah,
Oh, is it?
yeah. I lived there, born and raised. I worked in a butcher's. I loved that. Sorry to leave that. We left that, went back to the building trade, and then that went belly up in 2007, 2008. And I was doing a bit of door work and I was on the labour and they sent me this letter. But basically the letter says you got to go get a job because we're going to invest money in you, we're going to invest time in you. They pick people out. Just these letters. So I had to go to the local employment office and I showed him the letter and he said, "Look, you better get a course." I said, "I'm doing a bit of door and all, I'm grand." He's like, "Look, they're going to be onto you. You need to be doing something." So I was like, "Right. Okay, what will I do?" And he's like, "I don't know. What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I'm interested in fitness, so go to gym." And he said, "Well, do a course in that. And he's like, "There's one in Inchicore." And I was like, "Right, then I'll do that. What do I need for that?" And he goes, "Do you have a leaving cert?" And I was like, "Yep." And he goes, "Right, go come back to me tomorrow or whatever like that, blah, blah." And he rings me about 2 hours later. He goes, "You have to fucking lie to me." And I says, "Why? What did I do?" He goes, "You don't have a leaving cert. You failed your leaving cert." I'm like, "You didn't ask that. You just asked that I got a fucking leaving cert." But no, I purposely lied, because the leaving cert was a huge, huge, huge hangover for me. I failed me leaving. I failed it disastrously. And it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing me. I still celebrate leaving cert night, by the way. I went down and got hammered, as I did at 15/16. But it hung over me. I always felt stupid. I always felt like a failure. Not just that. It was a combination of other things in life that had an impact on me. So he just said, "Look, you didn't need to lie to me." He says, "You don't need, you're an adult or mature student or whatever." He says, we can get you on the program. He says, "Just tell me, be straight with me all the way forward." And I said, "Okay." Dave Brown is his name. He's a cool guy. He's in I think it's the James Street Employment Centre, but lovely, lovely fella. He was great to me. So yeah, I went on to that course. I went for the interview actually. And again, the lady that I met, Karen Parkinson, lovely woman, the course coordinator. And she said the same thing. She says, "I think you'd be good at this." And again, I was like, what does she know? She hasn't got a clue. And plus, I'm on the labour and I'm doing door. I don't really want to be here anyway. And then I got on the course. I came class rep. I done a few assignments. I didn't know how to even put on a computer. I didn't know what a Word document was. The only thing I knew about computers was I was going down to the local cafe to go on dating webs. These dating sites, because all the lads on the building site used to do them. So I used to go down to the cafe. I'd be on datingireland.com. Do you know what I mean? The woman beside me be looking. I'd be like checking out, girl. I'm like, stop looking. You know what I mean? So that's all I knew. But then I had to grow up and get a computer and a laptop and be the class rep. And I handed in a communications assignment. I swear to God, I was at to hand it in a thesis. The Book of Kells. I was like proud of this piece, a masterpiece with my name and fonts and all this italic writing and all. And and it just snowballed from there. And I just got into it because I was sort of good at this and I was being the class rep and I was doing well and I was getting distinctions and all this kind of thing. And I was hugely into drinking and partying at the time. Like hugely, I was an awful fecker for that kind of life. But I slowly started to the change that, you know yourself, you can either dedicate your life to one thing or the other. You can't ride two bikes with the one arse. So that's the route I went down. I kind of changed my phone number and I invested my time in this, and yeah, and then it just became just infectious, and I wanted more and more because all the while, excuse me, I was trying to fill this innate void of failure. I got all the assignments. Then I applied to get into Tala. I wasn't happy enough doing the leisure management and personal training. I said, I'll be a scientist. I always want to be and become. I'll be a scientist. I'll be this personal trainer. I'll always trying to get away from this innate feeling as I'm not good enough. And I remember, like, I couldn't wait to get out of college in Inchicore, and I couldn't wait to get to Tala. And every time I got to these points, there was an emptiness. There was nothing there. It was just, right, next, move on to the next one. I soaked it all up, but I missed loads of life. Like, I didn't go out party, I didn't go to family events, I didn't mix with me mates, and it was all arse about face, chasing this.
So had you gone from one extreme to the other? Had you gone from loads of partying to no partying?
100%.
In the pursuit of something to fill this emptiness.
Okay. Yeah, it was always to fill this innate feeling of not good enough, not doing enough, not being enough, not becoming. I was becoming. Like if you would have talked about it, I am going to be a scientist, I'm going to be whatever,
And have you made more sense as you've gone along of what that sense of emptiness or failure was? It wasn't just the Leaving Cert. That was probably part of it, but it wouldn't have been all of it, would it?
No, Jesus, no. It was just, like, from what I know now, we're jumping miles forward. Like, I done the college, I come here, I've engaged in counselling and psychotherapy 6-7 years. It was a childhood trauma. Things said to me as a child that was etched into my brain. You're not good enough, you're lazy, or whatever. Just little things. Girls said to me at a young age, I was ugly, or like I actually remember one girl telling the girl I was going out with that. She says, "You're going out with him," and she says, "Yeah, he's the ugliest man in the world." I was 15. What the fuck?
They were so wrong, Matt. They were so wrong.
Well, my mates actually say to me this day, "Jesus Christ, you like wine. You've better with age." My mate D Collins says to me all the time.
On the podcast, we'll sort.
No, it's my mate D Collins. He absolutely is my best mate, but it's funny as fuck. So it was that, and it was a childhood trauma. Like, I had sexual abuse. I was abused as a child. I actually didn't know the impact of it. It was a blind spot. I didn't see it as, this is what's causing the problem. It was just something that happened to me, and I didn't tell anyone because I felt if I can keep this in, it means I'm stronger than everyone. Like, this was kind of like my badge of strength. But the more and more I beat it down through drink and drugs or whatever, that was it, and it couldn't be cured by if an honours in a or first honours in a course, or a distinction or whatever, or keep chasing courses, and none of that solved it. It was actually doing the work. And I don't really talk too much about the whole sexual abuse or the child trauma. Again, I have to be mindful of my family, I have to be mindful of my friends, because people, yourself, I'm open about it. If you want to talk, we'll sit talk about it, but they haven't done the work, and they might take blame from her, they might not understand, or you don't know the impact on it. But I have done my work, I know where it sits, and I know what I need to do and how to mind myself, but I don't believe they do. So I have to be careful of that as well. My mom, my dad, my brother, so yeah, I don't suppress it anymore. I'll talk if somebody else had that problem, we want to, no problem, but I don't throw it out there. I just think I've done a lot of work to deal with it. But I didn't recognise all through the years of the college and the drinking, and that's what it was.
Yeah, right.
I remember someone saying to me before, "You did all that because you loved it." I said, "Yeah, I did love it. I did, just like I love sweets, just like all other things that in large quantities are not good for you. But there's always a why to it. There's a deep rooted reason why we overeat, overdrink, overparty, overindulge in any kind of negative behaviour, and that was mine. Yeah.
It sounds like you've made quite a lot of peace with it at this point.
Oh yeah, like I don't chase becoming anything anymore. I'm happy being me. I promise you, I think I'm more than enough.
Mm.
And through the counselling, through my reading, through interviews with you, through talks with you, just snippets of, changing my behaviours, like even the impact. Remember you were telling me about that guy on the course, about the behaviour change. Your mum's like, I'm doing this years, and I can't sustain change sometimes. Was that the way it was?
Yeah, it was. I can't remember the guy's name now, but I was at a study day, and this guy was talking about how the maintaining the change can be so difficult. And he talked about, having been like the slimmer of the year, and for so many years, for something like 7 years consecutively, he had maintained the changes. But now here he was 10 years later, back at the starting point again. That it's very hard to actually maintain big change,
Mm.
that you have to keep working at it. It's a bit like giving up cigarettes, or like I would have smoked for years and then I gave them up, and I would still never say I will never smoke again.
Right. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
unless you're on top of it.
And do
If
you
I have that one cigarette, I could have 20 tomorrow.
absolutely, and that like them conversations me used to have, you and I used to have for that 10 minutes was vital. Like they're really important. They're rich, and I used to go away thinking I love those human connection. And it was with that chat me and you had, was I was thinking about that because I had hangovers. Like I have a science degree, I have a personal training, blah 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 blah. Why can I not maintain my weight? Why can I not stay lean? Why am I overeating? Why am I indulging in all this? I said, wow, if that guy could do it, or if that guy, has these, it's okay. It's okay to fail. It's okay to not get it right. Be kind to yourself. And
And give it time. I think we live in an era of quick fixes,
a
and even
hundred,
psychologists have a lot to answer for. But they say things like, it takes 28 days to change a habit. It takes a lot longer than 28 days.
100%.
And smokers will often say that. I don't call myself a non-smoker. And we can always be toppled by another event that happens,
100%.
something that brings back a memory, an echo, and we're back to where we started.
Yeah.
So it's a constant. Yeah.
And that was kind of a changing point for me. And it was around the time I was engaging. I was back in counselling. Like I keep topping it, dropping in, dropping out, because I believe it's like personal training for my mind. I love it. I used to just think when I went. I remember going in 2012. A lady called Maggie Cox. She's one of the greatest people I've ever met. She's been my counsellor. And I remember going thinking, I'm going to go here for 2 weeks, and then I'm out here. Show me a few strategies, get me out here, I'll be grand. 6 years, 7 years going around the roundabout, and and she used to say, you got to be compassionate to yourself. You got to, all these kind of things. I was like, what does that mean? Does that mean going to Tesco, buying myself a bag of M&Ms, mind the little boy? I was like, what? I'll just feed him. I'll just feed the little fecker, But it was that stuff talking to you about being kind. I was like, wow, I need to be kind to me. And something that she said to me, actually, Maggie, she goes, you do a job in the NIH, and, it's very empathic, and you care about these trainees. But how come you're not empathic to yourself? Like, and I'm like, so are you saying that the empathy that I have for them is not genuine? She says, I'm not saying anything. I'm just asking you. Do you think it's genuine? I was like, what the fuck? Am I a fake? Am I going to work? Do I actually hate these trainees now? I was like, oh man, I was having a meltdown, and then I had to think about it. No, I do. I love the work. I really care for the trainees. I am empathetical. Why am I not to myself? And then I start exploring what it really meant. And again, it's grand having the intellect about it. Mind yourself, look after yourself. How do you do that? How do you feel that? It's being kind to yourself. When you make mistakes, going, do you know what? It's okay. What would you say to another person? You say, it's grand. It's not a major deal. It's grand. And I start saying that to myself. It's really important. Like really, like I'm really kind to myself. I mind myself, I mind myself in work. I mind myself in relationships. I mind myself in my family. I really look after myself as much as I look after other people. And by doing that, I have become more empathetic. I have become more understanding. Like I really have seen the benefits of that within my relationships. Like I've had disastrous relationships over the years, like personals with girlfriends, and they were just like the rest of my life, a fucking disaster. But as I'm getting older, I'm getting better, because I'm being better to me, and I can be more kind to me. I can be more present for other people. Still, it's challenging, but you have to be kind to yourself,
I think self-compassion and being kind to yourself are really important, but I think they get very confused with self-indulgence. And I think that's what people do then. They'll drink too much, eat too much, as
Oh
if
yeah,
that's, and you're making the point that it's not that. It's about kind of trying to lead life in a good way, in a good, well-rounded way. You've mentioned the word holistic there a few times, and it is that thing of mind, body, spirit, the lot.
oh
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah, and you do have to. You have to be kind to, and it's not the indulge. I used to think it was indulge. It was. I'd be like, yeah, I'll be kind to myself. Just go out more. I'll see people. I really didn't get it.
Yeah.
It was a blind spot to me. I had the intellectual awareness, but I didn't have the emerging awareness. I don't know what I look like, but now I do. I know it. If I make mistakes, like last week we were meant to do this interview and it all went belly up and the mics didn't work and all.
And Maeve didn't turn up.
And Maeve didn't turn up. It was meant to happen. If that had happened a year ago, I would have been crushed. I'd be thinking, oh, they think I'm an idiot. I haven't got a clue. I should be doing this. People are going to judge me. I don't care about that anymore.
You were so calm. You were brilliant. You completely took it in your stride. And yet, no, it looks like it's not going to happen today.
Yeah, and I do that right across the board now. It can be a bit challenging sometimes, but I really have to. Yeah, that's what I do now. I don't give myself a hard time over it. I really don't. It's not the end of the world. Everything used to be. I would have classed myself as a perfectionist. Again, what's that all about? That's again hiding from something. Now I've nothing to prove. I value
I think
myself.
often it's about trying to control the things you can't control. If I'm a perfectionist, well then everything will be just right, and it's really trying to make something right when you know deep down it's not right.
Yeah, like even like my body, like even my like body image. I wouldn't have took off my t-shirt, and people are like, that's mad. Like you look okay, you look great for your age or whatever. And I'm like, I just wasn't happy with it. I would now. I'm not that bothered. I just think I look grand, you know.
Mm.
But people used to find that bananas. They go, why? Probably because of that girl said that thing about me. Hope she falls down the stairs now anyway. So, no, I don't have any anger towards her. I don't have any anger towards anyone. Like she was just saying what she said. She was only a kid as well, But
And it's more than what she said. It's just you were at that vulnerable time in your life, and that's why things hurt so much when you're a teenager. They go straight to the heart.
yeah, and the
they
girl
do
that was
linger.
going out with told me.
Yeah,
Fucking hell.
exactly.
Anyway, yeah,
Didn't need
so
that. Well, I'm excited to ask you about your current project. I think your most up to date learnings is very exciting, Matt.
and what would that be?
Talk to me about yoga and mindfulness.
Okay. Oh, Jesus. Right, so I've applied to be a yoga teacher. I've done a course. I went to Thailand. I was in Thailand, and I just love being around love and kindness. How that came about, actually, somebody was asking something of me in life that I couldn't give them. They wanted something, and I says, no, I can't give this to you. I'm looking for love and kindness in my life, and that's what you need. But I can't give that to you, and you can't give that to me because of circumstances. And that was the first time I possibly admitted that that's where I want in my life, love and kindness, and I want to be around. I want to surround myself of it, So when I went to Thailand, I met a monk and I hung out with him for the day, and we went visiting other monks, and it just, when it just feels right, and I just loved them. We had deep conversation, and I was struggling with anxiety that day and fear and all those kind of things, and it was so apt that I was driving around with a monk for 6 or 7 hours and going to temples and having the chats with a monk. Ram was his name. It was amazing. So I just wanted more of that. When I came back, I kept saying I'll go down to the Buddhist center and I'll do one of the meditation courses, and I just wanted to be around. But like everything, I kept bottling it. I didn't go down, and then, as you know, I try to do something different all the time. I try to go outside my comfort zone. I try add new things to me life all the time, and I record, I write it down now. So I went and I absolutely loved it. I just love being around that environment, and I don't know what it is. I just follow the flow now of life, and that just kept kind of bringing me to it. I went and I done more yoga classes, and I was shit. But the meditation stuff came in. He was like, there's hindrance to meditation, but I think there's hindrance to anything you do in life. If it's avoidance, if it's ill will towards yourself, they'll come up in all sorts of things. And within the yoga, I was like, oh, I'm crap at this. I'm better off in the gym. I'm better lifting weights. Go do that. Forget the yoga. But then I was saying, no, there's something in this. you know what I mean? I want to be here. And I thought to myself one morning, if someone says to you, I'm going to give you a superpower, you're brilliant at yoga, would you take it? And I was like, yeah, I would. I was like, then you need to keep going back to yoga.
Yeah.
Your success is in your mess. You know, my mobility is shit. So what better thing to do than to do yoga? Meditation is there. Love and kindness is there. My mate Ty Gluby is a yoga teacher, and I love him. I go there. He's like my spiritual brother, and he just delivers an amazing. And I'd love to do that. I'd like to be that, to be part of that kind of love and kindness, not to become it, just to be part of it. You know. So yeah, so that's the kind
And
of.
what are the benefits that you're noticing?
Oh, like I wouldn't. Again, it's not like this is the most. This has been the most significant of things, but it's an accumulation with all the other stuff I do.
Mm.
It's the next level. You know, I'm aware of my thoughts. I'm the watcher of my thoughts. You know, I can watch. I don't believe in the feelings or thoughts that come into my head, whether it be I'm having conversation with my manager or my ma or my dad or anybody, and they irritate me. I'm able to watch that it's not them. It's just it either be a trigger or it'll be. I know now it's not me. It's just them talking. It's helped me be the watcher of my thoughts, maybe. You know, and watch them
Yeah.
coming in, coming out, and I don't let them impact me. You know, again when I'm having conversation with people and I feel irritated, straight away I'm watching me being irritated by this person. I'd be like, they've done nothing wrong here, and I'm getting irritated. This is mad. But I just be present,
So you're able to take the step back and just.
and I'm just present with the person, and I can listen. Like I've done a leadership course last year, you know, and we covered a lot on communication and being a leader, and I feel I am a leader. That's something I never taught myself as, you know. But again, that was part of that training as well. Is what's theirs, what's yours, you know, and not taking things personal, you know. So I just feel it's an area like I've done the training, the exercise, and all that. I just think it's where I want to go now, you know, with the mindfulness and the
And have you brought it into your work here yet, or is it too soon for that?
which
The mindfulness,
oh,
the meditation.
100%. Anything I do outside here, whether it be books I read on nutrition or books I do on disease or anything, this is a great place to bring it in. And I'll talk to trainees like, have you anything we do here? You know, I will say, have you known about this? Have you seen this? You know, and they go, no, and we'll talk through it. Like I'm not here to indoctrinate anybody, but I'm just saying, did you know you didn't know this? And they will go off, read, and trainees will come back and say, wow, I read about that, or that's not really for me. So yeah, anything I do, like the yoga or like the meditation, like I had trainees walking around here today in their bare feet, and about half an hour later, that guy Jason Brennan
Yeah.
was talking about rooting and taking your shoes off, and I was doing that with the trainees because I learned it in Thailand and I learned on the Buddhist course, you know, about rooting and sensations and being mindful through that. So yeah, any chance I get, and if it's beneficial to the trainees and it's not counteractive to any to the treatment that they're getting, and it's a holistic approach. Again, we're not teaching; I'm just kind of educating them. Did you know? Did you know that? Did you know that you didn't know that? And yeah, no, I would. I'd bring it in, and the trainees love that, you know. And probably because as I'm a male, and they would see me as a strong fear. Then for me to be taught about meditation or mindfulness or mental health or my experience, it helps a little bit.
So Matt, like when you came to NRH, you hadn't had a background in healthcare, really. You were on this journey and you came here. So did you get caught up in a lot of the trainees' stories? Were they going around in your head and your heart, or how did you manage all of that? All of a sudden to be hearing so much sadness.
I had this, yeah, like when I came here in 2010, Adina asked me to come along and she asked me to do a bit of exercise with them, and you know, and I said, oh, I've learned how to do PowerPoint. Can I make up a presentation? She said, yeah, go for it, work it, knock yourself out there, pal. So I done up like a kind of healthy living for people with disabilities, and I loved it. You know, I came to meet them, and straight away when I met them, I was able to see beyond the disability. I never seen the disability, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to their disability. I just used to see them, and I used to see courage and strength and showing up and turning up and being here. And I don't know. It wasn't. Yeah, I felt and I was empathic towards. And I was like, Jesus, that's hard for you. But I was more engaged in them as people, you know. And still to this day, when I hear trainees talk or they do presentations, I see beyond that, and I think what an incredible human being you are. Like, my friend Derek Cummins was on the podcast. Like, he just talks. And I used to see the identical person that he was before his injury. Same enthusiasm, same passion, same drive. Like, there is times you would get sad, Jesus Christ, I hope they do well, and especially when you really like a trainee.
Mm.
But more than not, I used to just be in awe of them. Like, I tell trainees how much they inspire me and how much, I know that's word porn sometimes for people, but how much they drive me on, how much, and I bring into my private life,
That's what I was going to ask you. What have you learned from working with trainees here? Because some people would say it's a very hard group to work with, people whose lives have been changed by brain injury. What have you learned from them?
You can go down that road, and you can wallow. And I know there's vicarious trauma, but I used to see beyond that. I just see the strength of character, the determination, the will. Life has been tough, and these could bounce back. And I know they might not see it, and they might not feel it, and not believe it. Like, I watched their change, and it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. There probably would be a bit of, like, we're similar. There's a bit of similarity. We both had difficult periods in our lives, and I was able to move forward, and they do too. And I feel like I have something in common. I feel like I was only listening to a girl this morning, Carolyn McGuigan from Suicide or Survive, and she was just saying human connection. It's the thoughts of being connected to other people. It's just so powerful. And I think that's probably the piece. I felt connected to them, and I still feel connected to them. Some drive me bonkers, and I'm sure I drive most of them bonkers. But I'd say just inspiration and just their will for life. And as much as they don't probably see it, but they keep turning up.
Yeah.
It'd be easy for them to shut off and not come in, and you've seen it. Like,
I think you work hard to look for that connection, though. I think you do really well at it, and you'd have a reputation around NRH now for being Mr. Motivator. You motivate people physically on your boot camps. I've done some of them myself until you changed to the mornings, and I couldn't do the mornings. But I know Rose has done pull-ups based on she has huge muscles here. And so you are Mr. Motivator, but what motivates you?
Our camera's gone.
Oops.
That's lucky. Maeve and I have no problem with that.
Has it gone off on us?
Sure.
I wouldn't worry about that, Matt.
Okay.
We'll keep going with the sound. It keeps doing that. 35 minutes. I don't know.
You see, I told you they should only be 30 minutes.
Yeah, somebody said I was listening to your podcast, but it's awful long.
Go on, what was your question? Sorry, we'll have to edit some of that out.
What motivates you, Mr. Motivator?
I'm motivated. Excuse me. I'm motivated just by life. Anything. Like, I was only listening to a podcast the other day. A guy on Super Soul, a girl on Super Soul, Oprah's one, and she was talking about finding your passion. She used to spout this out. You got to find your passion. You got to find your passion. This is how you do it and all that. And she got a letter saying that somebody said, "Look, you're a phony. Like, why are you saying that? That's the word I keep hearing that from all your gang. Find your passion. I've been looking for it. I've been looking for it all my life, and if anybody had found it, I'd have found it. So stop banging on with that." I was like, wow. And she had to think about it, and she think all the people in her life are special. They never found the passion. They all went up snakes and ladders, down a hill, up a hill. But now they're doing well for themselves in life, and they're like hummingbirds. She said they just bounce from one thing to another, find what they love, they stay with that if it doesn't. And that's kind of what I've done. And now I've embraced that. Whether it be the boot camps, whether it be the PUAs, whether it be all things that are beneficial to me, I love. And I wouldn't probably necessarily regard myself as a positive person, because I can be sad, but people just tend to latch onto that and they associate that with me. But if you talk to any of the girls in the office here, like, one day I could be singing, the next day I'd be as quiet as anything. But the general
Imagine that day.
Yeah, but some days I don't really have much motivation at all. But I just keep turning up, But it's about, like, this is an easy place to work, So.
But I think your superpower is your vulnerability in a lot of ways, because I think you show and you share your vulnerability to other people, within your training and your boot camps, but within your conversations in the coffee shop, everywhere you go. And people then find it easy to open up to you and to reach out to you because they know they're not going to be judged, and they know that they're going to meet a like-minded person. And I know that happens a lot in NRH. I know you're secretly actually doing some of my job.
No, look, we're on the same team, vulnerability. Brene Brown, Oprah Winfrey, Maya Angelou, all these powerful, spiritual, influential people. They talk about vulnerability, and it wouldn't have been something I've done for a long time, but then I learned how to do it, and I think it's a powerful tool. And I was on that leadership course I was on last year, and the first day, the course coordinator, the lady, I think of her name, she started talking, but I was watching her like I do my serial killer look. I was staring at her, waiting for the information to come out of her mouth, and I could see her neck getting red, pulling at her top. She was getting anxious, and she just stopped. I said, "Oh, guys, I'm really sorry. Excuse me. I'm really sorry. I'm getting really nervous. I don't know what's after coming over me." And I thought that was amazing. Like, that was leadership. That was vulnerability. And I just said, "Look, I'm sorry to see you cry. I'm sorry to see you all nervous." I said, "But I'm delighted you did that." I said, "That makes me feel fantastic. And I really want to be here. If these are the type of people I'm going to be around, to be vulnerable, and be nervous, be anxious, just be honest, And it just snowballs, and I just think now, but again, it's being vulnerable to people that are open to it. I wouldn't be vulnerable to everybody. I've got good emotional and social intelligence. And as we know, if there's energies and we match, I'll know straight away. I'm not going to be telling it to anyone. I'm not going to tell it to anybody on the bus or anything. But you know who to be vulnerable with. But even if I am vulnerable, I'll just say it. I feel better, and it feels like I'm not hiding anything. I always felt like I was hiding something. I'd always put on the brave face, doing the nothing's going on here. Everybody move along, nothing to see. And I'd be shitting on the inside, and I wouldn't say it. But now I do. I say, yeah, I'm nervous, but I always believe that whatever I do, it will be good, and it'll be all right. What does good mean? I get it done. I'm not going to sit there with metrics and go, "Oh, how good was it?" It'll always be okay. Even like when I had difficulty with my mental health, I always had this innate feeling that it'll be okay. So yeah, I think vulnerability is a powerful tool, but it's just hard for people to do. And it's lovely to be around people when they start to practice it. As I was having a conversation with someone last week, and it's lovely to see, and it's lovely to be around. That's a freedom, because society doesn't, and we're blessed in this environment. There's people around here that if you want to be vulnerable with, they're there for you. I'm sure it's difficult for people, in say corporate jobs or in their family life, vulnerability wouldn't be accepted. I'm training with a lad at the moment. We're up in a new gym, and me and him have deep and rich conversation and to talk about vulnerability. And we're from the same area, and we're just saying, wow, it's mad that we're having these conversations, but it's deadly. Not only are we working on our disco muscles, we're getting to talk about vulnerability and feelings.
So you have the mind, you've got your disco muscles. What about the diet?
My diet is fantastic.
Sugar is my friend. Sugar is my friend. Sugar is not my friend. Sugar is not my friend.
No, my diet is good at the moment. I've started doing a cut again, so we're coming up to the summer of my beach body. Now, what I'm trying to really do is I'm not doing the on season, off season, or cutting or bulking. What I done was I dieted before I went to Thailand, and when I got there, within 5 days, I put on about 6 kilo. I couldn't actually get into one of my training tops 2 days into the holiday. I was actually stuck. I was stuck halfway with my top over my head and my arms, and I was thinking, how could I dial the reception with my face planted in a fucking t-shirt?
What are you eating? Noodles and rice?
Everything. I just went absolutely. I was minding myself as I used to do, and just like eating McDonald's at 3 o'clock in the morning. I just went absolutely bananas. So what I'm trying to do now is probably go back to the condition that I was just before the holiday, and that's it, and just stay at that instead of going up or down, and just keeping it. I've got the skills to do that now, so that's the plan. So
and you're doing the kefir milk and all that. He was given this kefir stuff.
No, I love kefir, and I love probiotics and all that kind of stuff, but I don't like to drink my calories, so that was wasting a lot of my calories. As much as I loved it, I like to eat it, so it's whole foods, solid foods. I'm on my solids. I sound like a little baby.
I always remember you saying to the Farmers' Day when you came down to talk to them a couple of years ago, you said you can't outrun a bad diet. So no matter how healthy you are, and no matter how much you run, if you're eating badly,
Oh yeah, I
it's not
used to
good.
attribute like training. I think I could eat whatever when I was training. You can't really. I still believe that exercise is only maybe 20%. I think diet is 80, if not more.
But it's funny, once you'd said that, you then turned around and said, actually, the most important thing is do things that make you smile.
Oh yeah, like people say to me, oh, you're an advocate for exercise and going doing weights or gym and all. I amn't. I amn't. I tell people, there's there's more benefit and more bang for your buck if you do the things that you love. Like if you sat two people down and you done some testing on them, someone that loves exercise and someone that doesn't, and you ask them to go exercise, I'm sure you'll get a negative response if they're miserable all the time. If you're asking somebody to run 5Ks or 2Ks or 3Ks, but you keep saying, oh, but it's beneficial to you in the long run, I'm sure there's going to be negative aspects of that. Where if you said to them, look, I think you possibly could live longer, but if you just go on a calorie restricted diet, eat below your need, and take up painting or walking your dog or doing some kind of physical activity that you love, and watch your nutrition. So then you would be happy getting some physical exercise and then doing something that you love. I think there's more bang for buck there than telling somebody, oh, you need to join a gym and start beating yourself with the exercise stick. And then, again, that'll be going, I'm not good enough with this, my body, all these beautiful people in the gym. That's another thing for somebody to get over. So, women or men that have not been in gyms, to ask them to go do that, then that's putting another kind of barrier to them. Like, what if you said to them, just go out walking every evening, go meet up with a friend, go for a coffee, join a walking group, join a whatever group.
I often think of that when we say to people here, but I work on the spinal program, and we'd say to them, well, now, you don't need a physio when you leave here, you need to join a gym. And I'm thinking, given people's regular hang-ups about going to a gym, asking somebody in a wheelchair to go to a gym, it's a really big ask. And we just say it as if it's the same as eat a banana a day, go to the gym. It's not the same thing at all. There's huge barriers. There's a fabulous paper, actually, barriers to going to a gym as a disabled person.
Oh, 100%. They're intimidating environments for anybody. And if you feel that you're not within the social norms, whether you're carrying a bit of extra timber, you're in a wheelchair, or you've an amputee, or you have a disability of some sort, they're scary places. Life is scary anyway for people with a disability. But then to go to a gym where you believe these are super athletes or beautiful people, where they're struggling just as much as you in the wheelchair, or you might be in a wheelchair when they're not. We're all the same, but it's intimidating. So I try not bang on that drum too much and tell people, oh, exercise, exercise, exercise. It's the great way hope.
Okay. So Matt, then, as we're very mindful, we want to keep it under 2 hours, aren't we now?
Yeah.
How would you round it off then? Your podcast audience is growing all the time.
Yeah.
What is the top tip? What is the message that Matt Burke wants everyone to hear and to really hear?
It's a very philosophical. What would I, I'll always say to anyone, all humans, all people, they need to be kind to themselves. They really need to look at things from a helicopter view, appreciate the life that you had, look at the things that you've been successful. And when I say successful, I don't mean your degree or your job or your car or the girlfriend you have, like your life, like getting through your family. All the little things are so important, have a look at all those things and be appreciative of the life that you have. Be kind to yourself, practice gratuity, find a mantra, say mantras to yourself, affirmations, say affirmations to yourself, do things that make you happy. Practice life like a kid. No one practices mindfulness and presence like kids. Like I was playing with my nephew and niece the weekend and my daughter, and I've never been more present as I am at the moment. I watch them and they play and they don't have a worry in the world. They laugh. They run around like lunatics. They don't care. They love, laugh and dance. And sometimes they cry. That's cool. We need to do more of that. And that's what I think. I think self-compassion, empathy and being present, like I've never valued presence as much as I do now. And we're easily dragged out of that with a worry or a negative thought, and sometimes it's hard to come back to it. But what I would say as well is to people is the practice. That's what I've learned, whether it be meditation, whether it be relationships. I'm practicing. I'm just trying. If I make a mistake, it's okay. It's not, I have to do this and that has to be done. I'm practicing. I'm practicing the podcast. I'm practicing human connection. I'm practicing. And sometimes I get it wrong and sometimes I don't. And when I do, I say, well done to you. And when I don't, I go, unfortunately, just try harder the next time, or try better, or be whatever. I be kind, but I do also recognize when I do good things and when people do good things. And that's something that's important as well, is acknowledging when people do good for you. And I send random texts to people, thanking them for being kind to me or supportive, and I genuinely mean it. And it's part of, as you say, what's your one, the rag, reframe, affirmations, and gratuity. Like I have them all around my computer, I have them on my fridge in the house, and I say them. Even when I was going through a dark time last year, I wrote these things on the wall. What I wanted, to have love back in my heart, creativity. Because when I'm down or I'm not feeling great, creativity goes. I lose it. Well, I have the creativity to write miserable poems, but it's not the one I want. I want to be able to have the crack of
Oh,
people.
now we have to see the poems now.
Yeah. So I lose that in times of my downtime in my mind. I lose that creativity. And I just reminded me that I will be in love again. I will have happiness, and I'm successful, I'm healthy, and all these things are out there, and I truly believe them, and they're there, they come true, they've come true. I've got love in my heart, I've got love in my life, I've got health, wealth, but how I value that is for me. I don't have a barometer and say this is what it has to be. I think I am all of that and more.
Your enthusiasm. I'm laughing at your answer because your enthusiasm for life is evident. Rose asked you for a top tip, and you've been talking for about 5 minutes. It's a very long top tip, but it is about being. And I'm just reminded of a psychiatrist who broke her neck and has been discharged here recently. And she just said, my doing days are over. I have to be now. And I just thought it was a lovely way of, reframing high-level spinal cord injury. But it kind of is what you're saying. Be in the moment. Be grateful. Be yourself. Be kind. They're all kind of ways of being, I guess.
Yeah, like I don't say, oh, I have to meditate, I have to do this, and I don't. Like I do courses now, and I think, oh, how am I going to implement this in my life? And I need to be doing this, and always having this. Now I just chill. It will just happen.
And yet you do lots of things. I was curious coming over today. I was thinking, what did I ask Matt? And one of the things is just very basic curiosity around why these podcasts? Why have you spent 100 hours doing over 50 podcasts that are most enjoyable to listen to? But why are you doing them, and what have you learned from them?
I would possibly say, again, it was just the storytelling. It's sharing the story with people. It's education. I love education. I love not knowing things and being educated, whether it be about whatever. I remember sitting in the van going to collect the furniture, and it was this Dutch guy was giving us a lift, and he was late. My mate was doing his head in. He's the guy that said about me being a fine wine. He was going mental. He's like, where is this fella, right? So we were like, where were you? And your mum's like, oh, I was down in the docks, I was sailing my boat, and I was on the sea. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I started asking a question, and my mate is elbowing me, goes, would you shut the fuck up? And I was like, what is the boat? And he was like, oh, it's fiberglass. And he knew everything about boats, and I was fascinated by this because I love people's passion. Like, I don't care what it's about. If you're passionate about something, I'm going to listen to you. Especially, like, I'm not really into religion, but if somebody knows a lot about religion or something, I'll definitely listen, and I love it because they've spent a lot of time learning about this. And then I'd be really appreciative. My mate was like, will you shut up? Like, you wind me up, talk about boats and fiberglass. I just want to kick him in the sea. And it was that kind of thing that really made me think, you know what? And I said it to a couple of people that I'd like to do a podcast again, to sit down with people like you two guys and other people. So it's been an education, it's been a journey. It's just, again, it's like the meditation and the yoga, and it's where I'm going with it. Like my mental health, that I had difficulties in the past about that. Now I embrace, and now I'm involved in the SAGS group. We're called a SAGS group, Suicide Awareness Group. I'm involved in that because it's something that I love to do, and it's people are getting stuff out. Like, people have said lovely things to me about the podcast, sent me lovely letters. Like, I brought a father and son together that didn't know it was his dad. He got in contact with me through the podcast.
Wow.
He says, could I have his name or his number? And I said, well, this guy is looking for you. And then he said, I think you're me dad. And
Wow.
Another girl that I had on the podcast, Liz Gillis, she had somebody talk to her at an event, or didn't talk to her event. He texted her later saying, look, I was really impressed by your interview on the podcast. You inspired me to write a book about my dad. He was in the IRA, and or my granddad, or something. And I've had other powerful messages, so I don't look on how many listeners I have or what we're doing. I don't do any of that. It's not about that anymore. It's just about people's story or an education for me. There's a lot in it for me, but people are getting a lot out of it as well. People in work have said nice things. So yeah, it's been a bit of education, storytelling. It's typical of me, just random and off the wall stuff, but it's deadly. It's everything. There's nothing on it that I regret, or there's no one on it that I would never want on it. They're everyone I wanted. I personally picked them. They're my people that I want to have on. They're people I genuinely want. I'd love to sit down and have the chats with that person.
Well, Matt, I think now, in true Matt lingo, Maeve and I are going to bounce.
54 minutes and 22 seconds. You kept it under the hour. You're going to bounce.
Have we left anything out? Anything where you were bursting to say and didn't get a chance?
No. I just, if I haven't said already, the NRH, you two guys in particular, are amazing people. This is the greatest place to work. It is, honestly.
We're rolling our eyes here.
Yeah. No, it is. Anyone that knows me know that I love it.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic to sit down with you two guys and have the chats about this. I probably wouldn't have been as comfortable with anyone else to do it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would have been. I didn't think you're not that mean. I know you're pretending to be mean, but I don't think you are.
You're fab, Matt.
Penny's on.
Your enthusiasm, as I said, is infectious. It's lovely to be in the presence of it, because you are always so positive. And it's not positive as in Pollyanna, you just must be happy no matter what. It's positive against the background of trauma and other things going on. It's real. It feels real.
Thanks, and I genuinely like that, and I like to be genuine. Can I tell you a little story? There's a quick one, I promise you. I'll let you out. You can bounce in a second. I wondered where I got this from, this innate feeling that everything will be okay, right? And my dad's going through cancer the last 7 or 8 years. My mum had cancer and all. And they used to come back, right? And they used to really irritate me. Oh, the girl in the hospital. Oh, she's so lovely. And this person's lovely. And I'm like, will you stop being so fucking Irish and just say like you're annoyed or blah, blah. And it wasn't fake. It's real. My dad genuinely believes these are good people. Things are going to be okay. He's very positive. He's had cancer and chemo every week for the last 7 years, but still bangs on about this nurse is great, that doctor's nurse, or that doctor's great, and all these other people are great and are wonderful. And I'm thinking, is he just being Irish? But no, he genuinely believes that things are going to be okay, and that has rubbed off on me somewhat. We all give out about our man Dan, all these kind of things. Oh, I didn't get enough of this, whatever. They've been wonderful, but I didn't know that I was learning that from them. That this innate thing that everything will be okay, and that's my dad. Like, my dad had kidney cancer. He got his kidney out. A week later, he's back on his bike, his motorbike, a 400cc thing, flying around collecting money for his job. Like, he's self-employed. Like, he works for himself. He's never takes sick days. He just works. Not because he has to or he's stuck for money. He loves it, and that's his enthusiasm. Like, he's been. People talk about inspiration, and he was my inspiration. Like, he didn't miss days. He got us up for school every day. Like, he just done it because he was up. Never ordered a shout. Just consistent. Yeah, so yeah, that's been influential with being a positive, and that's probably where I got it from. As much as I give out about him.
It is. Tribute to the parents.
Exactly.
Thanks to my man and dad, and to the Liberties. It's me, true love. So look, thanks for coming on the podcast. Thanks for making it easier than I thought it would have been.
And thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.